shocks. The world's most shocking monster. Never have you known such cringing terror, such sudden shocks. The world's most shocking monster. Never have you known such cringing terror, such sudden shocks. The world's most shocking monster. Never have you known such cringing terror, such sudden shocks. The world's most shocking monster. Never have you known such cringing terror, such sudden shock.
This is Midnight Alchemy with your host Jason Allen on the Left Coast Media Network. And now here's Jason.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever and whenever you are. This is Midnight Alchemy, and I am Jason Allen. Hello there, welcome to our first foray into live streaming. I don't know how this is gonna go. This is gonna do something, so we'll see what happens. You know, it's boy oh boy, it's really again, this is all live stream. Me and my technology, it is a love-hate relationship. I mean, so we're get ready, folks. This is going to be good. We got some live guests coming on for you. We got some ghost stories. Hopefully we got some people in the chat. It will be fun. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get on my chat right now and kind of go live with you and see what I can do. So how's everyone out there? I hope you guys are all having a happy Halloween. And hey, we're going to have some fun in here, man. So let me get into the live here. All right. On my chat right now and turn down the sound here. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, this is Midnight Alchemy. You're all welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and small domesticated animals. Hello there. So, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start things off here with a ghost story. Now, I've been checking my emails, and we have been getting some juicy ones. So the first one tonight comes from Michael, and he lives in Providence, Rhode Island. Hello, Michael from Providence. Nice. Okay, here is the ghost story from Michael from Providence, Rhode Island. My wife and I moved into a house back in 1994. We had heard stories about it being haunted, but I'm a skeptic and I thought it was a bunch of bunk. Shortly after we moved in, I started hearing noises from the attic. It was some small thumps and some scraping sounds. I asked my wife if she heard it too. She said yes. We thought it may be some shifting sounds in the house or something like that. A week later, we heard the same sounds and scratching noises from the walls in the living room. Needless to say, we were totally freaked. One day, while home alone, my wife decided to investigate the attic. When we moved in, we put some stuff up there, including a trunk, old lamps, etc., and clothes. While my wife investigated, the trunk started to move, making a scraping sound. She also said that the attic got very cold. There's something for you. All right. She ran back downstairs and waited for me to get home. When I got there, she pleaded with me to go into the attic and see for myself. When I got up there, I saw the scraping marks on the floor, and it got cold again. I started hearing thumping noises and saw a shadow move along the wall. Oh my God. The hairs on my neck were standing up. I got the overwhelming feeling that this was a bad, bad spirit, you think? The light bulb cord started swinging around. That's when my wife behind me started to scream. We ran back downstairs, grabbed some clothes, and then went to the hotel for the night. I tell you, man, I would have been out of there right there. Woo! Getting late. Gotta go. So, they went down there and then went to a hotel for the night. When I went to work the next day, I was talking with a coworker about what happened the night before. He started filling me in about how a previous owner had committed suicide up in the attic after his family had left him. Evidently, he hung himself. I asked him how he knew. With a red face, he admitted that it was his cousin. I immediately called the realtor and asked him why he failed to mention this when we were in the process of buying. He finally admitted that he had left that part out. Needless to say, we put the house up for sale with a different realtor and moved across town. All right, that was Michael from Providence, Rhode Island. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, go ahead and write in the chat of what's going on. This guy from Rhode Island moves into a house with his wife. Shortly after, they start hearing thumps and scraping noises from the attic. And then they finally decide they're going to go up and check it out. The wife goes up, and she gets totally freaked out and pleads for her husband to go on up after he gets home. They go up, and then the cord for the light bulb is swinging. There is scrape marks from the trunk, and there's a shadow person. Now, I've heard and talked to people and interviewed people who have had encounters with shadow people. I've never seen one myself, but, you know, I gotta believe that has gotta be just pooping your Pampers time. So, again, Michael, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in here to this live stream. This is my first foray, so I'm pretty sure Mr. Murphy is in the house. Now, I regularly do my podcast. Every episode comes out on Wednesday. All you got to do is go to your favorite podcast site, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, etc., and then download it or listen to it. And hey, give me a review. Give me 5 stars. And also get up here on the YouTube channels. I will be putting more and more videos of the interviews up. So stay tuned for that. Alright, I'm going to read a second ghost story here. This is from Raphael, from Phoenix, Arizona. Now, Raphael writes us, he says, I've always been intrigued by the, let me read that again. I've always been intrigued by the desert. Me, as I live in Arizona, I often go out to the desert just to get a center of well-being and to be alone. Well, one time, when I was out in the desert, I'd been there for 1.5 days. Yes, I had plenty of water, so I wasn't going to hallucinate. When I saw kind of a dust circle, start, and it started whipping around, getting bigger and bigger. Well, I thought at first this was a dust devil, so I didn't give it much mind, but it got closer and closer. Soon I could hear the whipping noises of the sandstorm here, and a voice proceeded from telling me that I needed to leave. Holy cow, Raphael. It kept doing this for 3 to 5 minutes, and I was very scared, but it seemed like I was stuck to the spot. I tried to move my legs, but I wasn't going anywhere. The voice kept going on and on, telling me to leave, that I wasn't welcome there, and if I didn't leave, he would inhabit my body. Oh my God, possession. What I realized was that this was something that they called a jinn. A jinn. And it really scared me, and I needed to get out of there. Finally, I was able to move my legs, so I ran for my car. I left my tent behind and just took off. This was the scariest thing I've ever had in my life. I hope it never repeats again. Okay, that's Raphael from Arizona, Phoenix, man. Well, Raphael, I've heard some about jinns. I've done a lot of reading with Islam, and I happen to be Muslim. And so, needless to say, I've heard about jinns and the stories of it, not only from them, but, you read the Arabian Nights and so forth, and that's the stories you get. I cannot imagine running into something like that, it's the paranormal for me is tangible. Yes, it's there, but I've never had to deal with something like that. So, oh my gosh! Again, thank you guys for tuning in. This is my first live stream. Yes, Mr. Murphy is in the house. Hopefully, as we keep going on, things will be getting a little smoother. My podcast is out every Wednesday. You can go to wherever you get your podcasts, and you can tune into it and listen to it, and hopefully give me a good review and some 5 stars. You can go to my Facebook page, the Midnight Alchemy Facebook page. Just in the search, type in Midnight Alchemy, and you'll get there. And all you got to do is like it, follow it. There's a lot of good stuff on there. You never know when I'm gonna run across. So yeah, get there. Subscribe here on YouTube. Why not? Give me a 5-star rating if you would. And there you go. Next up here, we got an interview coming with the Squatch Father. Alfred Santoriga is going to be in the house here, and we're going to talk to him about ghosts. He is the head of the Bronxville Paranormal Society. He's in a bunch of other ones too, which he'll tell you during the interview here, I'm sure. And I've asked him to please relate the best of the investigations that he had. He sent along some photographs that I will be I will be including during this interview, and I hope you enjoy it. Alfred Santoriga, the Squatch Father. All right, we are here with the Squatch Father himself, Alfred Santoriga. Alfred, how are you doing, buddy?
Good, Jason. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for enduring all the please stand by technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, my life is one big technical difficulty, so it doesn't matter.
I can totally relate to that, man. So we're here on the live stream here, and I couldn't think of any better guest to get on than the Squatch Father, because, good Lord, you have some experiences. So,
yes. We and I'm always going out getting more stuff. I did before we get into the show, I just want to mention that I did a event, a Bigfoot investigation on Friday the 13th, and it was a solar eclipse that day, and there was 1% of the moon that night, and it was a pretty interesting night to say the least.
Tell me about it.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to discuss everything with the world. I still got a lot of stuff I got to sort out, but
Gotcha.
We went out when I went back out on the 28th because it was a full moon that night and there was a lunar eclipse, and we went back out to the sacred site where I usually do my squatching, one of my sites, and man, it was crazy. I mean, just the total opposite effects from one end to the other of the spectrums, and the stuff that happened was just, if I told you about it, you wouldn't believe me. You would think I'm making it up. But I had my cousin with me, who on both nights, and it was his first time out on the Friday the 13th. So he was a veteran by the second time, and he validated everything that happened on both nights. So it was nice to have somebody out there who could validate it, because every time I plan on going out, and like everybody that plans on coming with me bails on me. And, those two particular nights, the 1% of the moon and the full percent of the moon, I was hell bent on going out both of those nights, even if I had to go alone, so, which is something I don't ever really do unless it's during the day. But those 2 nights, I was going come hell or high water, and I'm glad my cousin came with me. And when I put all the data together from both nights, and I put everything together, and I get it all down on paperwork, and analyze everything, I'll come out with everything that happened. But I mean, just crazy stuff, man, just crazy.
Nice. I'm sensing a Squatch Father Part 3 in the works.
I was, like I said, you know, I love going out. I live for investigating, no matter if it's, cryptids, UFOs, or ghosts. I'm actually working on something right now, on a missing persons report,
Hmm.
with my psychic and another investigator from Connecticut. And uh, long story short, they're looking for a body in a well that's 900 feet deep, and they can't find it. And so I called my psychic up and told her about it. And I think she's pinpointed the spot for the divers. And I'm going to get in there with a friend of mine from Connecticut who's a paranormal investigator. He's got a connection to the site, and we'll see what happens with that as well. So I'm always working on something. I'm always doing something.
Yeah, I love that. Always working on something. That's
Yeah, well,
awesome.
it's just it's this is what like there are podcasters who just love to do their shows and talk and talk and talk, and always, I know the podcasters that do like 3 shows a day, and that's what they love doing. Me, I love investigating, I love researching, and just being out there in the elements and experiencing everything, not only with all of the machinery that we have at our hands today, but even just all our senses. Our body is like the best um, detector in the world. You know what I mean? So it's just amazing stuff.
That's fantastic. Hey, let's get right into it here. The first
Yep.
photo we're putting up right now, oh my gosh, is of a shadow person. Uh,
Okay.
I've heard about them, and I know about the phenomenon, but I have never seen a photo at all, the shadow person, let alone what I'm looking at now. This is incredible.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. When I took that photo, I didn't see it at the end of the hall because the camera I was using was a little Sony, a digital camera, and the screen on the back is like 2 inches by 2 inches,
Yeah,
and I was down. That corridor had to be like, I would say, a good 150 feet long, and I just took a flash because that's what I do. I just take pictures in the dark, and didn't realize I caught that until we did the evidence review. And then there was this 7 foot, his head is above the door jamb. The door jamb is at least 7 feet high. So this thing had to be about 8 feet high. That was at the Letchworth Village Insane Asylum. And with the EMF meter didn't go off the whole day we were there. We were there for we did, and I go out, I like to do it day and night. And the EMF meter didn't go off the whole time we were there. So we really never had any idea if there was anything with us unless we felt it ourselves. And we had 3 different groups of guys on each floor with walkie-talkies, so no one would contaminate anybody else's stuff, and we would rotate. And I was down in the basement with a new guy. He was a newbie, and I took him with me, and I took that photograph. And the only thing I felt down in the basement was there was an elevator shaft that was opened, like the elevator was stuck on the first floor. But the shaft door was opened, and when I walked past that elevator shaft, I got a real foreboding feeling. And I was like, "Ooh, this is not good." That was the only time I felt anything dark in the place. And I had interviewed people who went before, and they said, "Oh yeah, they're spirits there. They push you down steps. If you're a female, they pull your hair." Other researchers had chairs thrown at them in the dining hall. I knew 2 people that were there whose cell phones called the local police, and when the police called them back, like these people were like, "Why is my phone ringing?" And they pick up the phone and they go, "Hello," and they go, "Yeah, this is the local police. You just called us. Is everything okay?" And these 2 investigators like, no, we didn't call you. And I said, well, we got a phone call from this number, and then it just disconnected. So, the cops asked them, I said, like, where are you? You know, and it's like, we're at Letchworth Village. And they said, okay, maybe it's time for you to leave, you know? So I'm getting all these reports from all these different researchers and just witnesses who went there on their own. And so I couldn't get there fast enough with my team, you know? So,
Yeah.
and that shadow figure was down in the basement at the far end of the hall. And I'm telling you, that hallway was so dark that we actually had headlamps on, but we weren't using the headlamps at that point. You know, I shut the headlamps off when I take the photographs, and so I never knew it was down there watching us. Yeah, because eventually we walked it to the end of that corridor, and we walked through that door, and there was nothing there. You know, so
Holy cow, man.
yeah, yeah.
Woo. Yeah, again, this is the first time I've ever seen a photo with a shadow person. I listen to, paranormal radio and stuff, and you hear stories about it, but you can never really have a tangible sort of thing to look at. And I got to tell you, Alfred, this photo of the shadow person, yeah, it scares the bejeebies right out of me. Now, let me ask you a question here. How do you guys feel when you go into places like insane asylums, or let's say something that has like a very creepy connotation to it? I mean, is it all business as usual, or do you guys get that sort of vibe?
Everybody on the team is sensitive to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Nobody's allowed to go anywhere if they have subconscious fear. The psychic reads everybody before we go on investigations, because we won't allow anybody to go anywhere that would make them a target for something dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've had to leave people behind on many occasions. I don't think we've ever been out in all these years, in 12 years, with the whole team, because of some people who have subconscious fear that just can't go on this particular, one thing may scare them more than something else. Like, they may be fine in the middle of the woods at night, 4 miles deep in the woods with a 12-foot Sasquatch, but they're scared to death of ghosts or demons or stuff like that. So, I'm personally, we always say a protection prayer. We go above and beyond protecting ourselves. And I'm when I go into anything, I go in without any kind of fear. I won't go anywhere if I feel like I have subconscious fear. But I'm usually psyched up. I'm excited to be there. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Our psychic will call us and say, okay, where are you guys going? I'm seeing this, I'm feeling that, because we don't usually tell her anything, till we're there. And then we'll call her, and then she'll say, okay, you're going to see this, you're going to see that, or the other thing. And we say, okay, but we don't go to the location looking for what the psychic says. We go to the location just waiting to experience what happens. Now, 10 out of 10 times at the end of the night, everything she says is going to happen, no matter how crazy it sounds. Usually happens, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's not like we go in looking for, Cindy said this, so we should look for this. No, we just go in and we do our thing, and everybody gets locked and loaded, and everybody's basically on a mission once we get to a location.
Right. Hey, did any intuitives or anyone you had with you that night, did they sense that malevolent sort of, hey, you're going down the wrong hallway sort of thing?
Yes. My partner, Brian, he was down on the basement when I was up on the third floor, and then we switched. And he said, we'll at the end of the night, we'll share our notes, and I said, okay. And then at the end of the night, we would meet up. We would meet between floors to say, okay, first team's going here, second, and we would share notes. And he said, basement is pretty good. There's nothing dark down there, yada yada yada, except for maybe some creepy vibes in the morgue, or the tunnels underneath the place had some creepy vibes. But he did say he felt something dark in that elevator shaft, and I was like, me too. I said, but the K2 meter didn't go off when I was there. And he said, same with me. He said, none of my devices went off, but I felt something dark in there as well. But he didn't see a shadow figure or anything. But again, he felt it as I did at that one particular opening in the basement down below.
That is crazy, man. Hey, has there ever been a investigation that you've been on that has been too much? Like you just got to get getting late, got to go, sort of thing.
We've done investigations that we probably should have left earlier, but me being me, I'm always the guy that says, wait, let's wait a little longer. I feel like there's more to come, and I'm the guy who doesn't want to miss anything. Yeah. So I usually make everybody hang around longer than we probably should. There was a time we were in a ancient stone chamber and we were doing a test. We were trying to open up a portal, and I would just come from a symposium where I was sitting with David Browntree, who was an electric engineer, and I had asked, he's a big portal guy, and I had asked him, David, how do you know if you open a portal? And he said the radiation goes through the roof. I said, okay. So we ended up doing an investigation at an ancient stone chamber, and my partner and myself, and we went in there. We did with our Geiger counter. We read the radiation. There was nothing in there, and then we did some rituals that changed the energy of the place.
Talk about that for a minute. What sort of rituals were they?
We were playing with frequency and vibration. We were using Tibetan singing bowls, and we were just amped in, and it was just vibrating off of the stones and everything, and it just felt like the stones were moving like they were rubber. And we had a shadow figure step out from inside the wall to look at us. I was filming north, and my partner was filming south, and the door was on the south side behind me. And we had. Did you ever see the episode of Skinwalker Ranch where the rabbi did his prayers, and they were filming on thermal, and all the colors changed?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, we did that about 10 years before that in the stone chamber, and we got all the video on YouTube of the stone chamber, how the colors went from yellow and orange and red to purples and greens and blues. We had the same effect with our Tibetan singing bowl frequencies and stuff. And when my mouth started to tingle, my tongue was tingling, my fingers were tingling. And when we checked the radiation level, it was through the roof. And my partner was like, we should get out of here. This is dangerous. And me being me, I was like, just wait 2 more minutes, because I feel like there's more to come, Yeah. And that's when he seen the shadow step out from behind me. But it wasn't on the outside of the chamber looking in. It was on the inside of the chamber. And when it stepped out towards the doorway where the light, the sun, it was a sunny day. So my partner seen the shadow and said, dude, turn around. There's a shadow figure behind you. And I felt like a coldness immediately when this thing stepped out. And it stepped out from inside the rock. I don't know if it came from inside the rock or on the inside of the wall, but it stepped out. And when I swung around with my camera, because he was filming in thermal, I think, and I was filming in infrared, and when I turned around, it was gone. But at that point, the radiation, the Geiger counter was screaming, and he was like, "It's time to go." I said, "Yeah, it's time to go. Let's get out of here." Yeah.
Damn, man.
It probably should have got out of there sooner, as soon as the Geiger counter started to scream. But like I said, I always like to just push it a little bit more and wait a little just to see what else is going to happen. I don't know what it is about me, because I always feel like there's more to come, and I don't want to miss anything, Oh,
yeah. First in, last out, man.
Something like that, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's move on to the second picture here. And
sure.
This one, I'm gonna say right at the beginning just creeps me the hell out. Because up in the corner that you have circled, man, it is definitely something, and it looks like one bad mamma jamma.
Yeah, well, we had all rallied together in a hallway, and we called the psychic, and our psychic's name is Cindy. And she said, "Okay, um, everybody needs to go down to the operating room, okay? And when you get there, look around for a board game because you're going to find the board game that starts with the letter O." And of course, us guys all being from New York and her being from Arkansas, we just had to bust our chops. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna find operation in the operating room, right? And she's like, yeah, just call me when you find it, you know. And I mean, she puts up with our bullshit, you know. And so we go down there. There's the operating room is really not that big. Um, there's one table in the middle of the room with a lot of debris on it. We kind of put all our bags on it. We don't want to put our backpacks on the floor. We put all our bags on it, and everybody's taking photographs. You know, everybody's spreading out, and at one point there was a conduit coming out of the ceiling, like an electrical conduit, and there was no more wire in it, but just the pipe itself was coming down out of the ceiling, and right next to it was a string, and the pipe started shaking like from right to left, like somebody had it by their hand and was shaking it. But the crazy thing is the string is attached to the same pipe, and the rope is not moving. So we're all looking at this baffled, and we're taking pictures and we're videotaping it. And my partner Brian says, "You know what? I got a black light. I'm going to go over there and see if there's any fingerprints on this conduit, you know?" And so we all go over with Brian, and he's looking for fingerprints, and we're not seeing anything. We go back after that. We go back over to the table to get our equipment to try other pieces of equipment. And Brian says, "Al, look down." And I was in the middle of talking to the guys, and Brian goes, "Al, look down." And I go, "What's your problem, bro? I'm in the middle of something." And he goes, "Look down." And I looked down, and on the table was a Ouija board that looked like it was from the 17th century. Okay. And if you go on YouTube and you find the video, you'll hear me cursing, "Don't touch that effing thing," you know? And then one of the guys grabbed the planchette and put it on my back. And I almost cold cocked him. I said, "Dude, if you ever do that to me again, not only will you be off this team, but you'll be going to the hospital because I'll knock you out." You know what I mean? Don't ever put that shit on me. I don't know what that's attached to, you know? And so we're spread out and we're taking pictures. And the guy in the photograph, his name is Paul. Paul is our orb guy. Paul can take pictures in total darkness with a camera with no lights, and it will get 1,000,000 orbs in his pictures, right? So, Paul is in the corner taking a picture of me. So I said, "Let me take a picture of Paul while he's taking a picture of me." And I'm taking a picture of Paul. He's taking a picture of me, and sure and behold, above his right shoulder is like Casper the Friendly Ghost or something just hovering there, you know? And again, we didn't see any of these photos at the time until we had our evidence review and we put it on like a 62-inch screen TV, you know. And then we start analyzing everything and we go over everything, and you know we're dumbfounded what we find when it's all said and done, you know. So that was taken in the operating room at Letchworthville Insane Asylum.
No, that is crazy, man. Hey, when you guys first got back and you started disseminating all the evidence, and when you first saw that ghost, what went through your mind? Because the visual of it is just creepier than hell.
Yeah, you know, and I'm the kind of guy, to be honest with you, 99% of my photos don't make it to any of my pages because I'm an ex-photographer and I'm very picky on what I put out there. And I know the difference between shadow and light, and I know the difference between pixelation and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff I throw out, you know. And when we seen that, Brian, my partner, is my tech guy. He's a wizard when it comes to technology. And I said, before we jump to any conclusions, Bri, do your thing and run this through all kinds of filters or whatever you do, whatever kind of software you have, and let's see what we can find here. Let's try to debunk this before we claim it's anything, because I didn't want to put it out there and claim it was something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And Brian said, okay. So he went through it. He put it through all kinds of software and everything, and he came back to me and he said, dude, it is what it is. And I was like, okay, if you're telling me it is what it is, I'm happy with that. Then we'll put it up on our pages, and we'll put it up on, YouTube and all that other stuff. I said, because I don't like to put stuff up there that's, pareidolia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh, man. Hey, we're going to be saving the best for last here, because the plasma lady just creeps me the hell out, man. Tell me how this came about.
Yeah, so when we were getting ready to go, the psychic called me again. She said, listen, I got an old lady. She's been coming to me. She's excited that you guys are going to come there. She's looking forward to seeing you out. She's going to show herself to you. So make sure you take a lot of photographs and you pay attention, because she's definitely going to show herself. And I said, okay, let's see if this old lady shows up. And this is the old lady who pulls the young girl's hair and pushes the young guys down the steps and stuff like that,
Geez.
So we go there, we're walking around, and everybody on our team is like 6 foot and hot and taller. I'm the smallest guy at 6 foot. Everybody else is like 6'2", 6'3", and we're really big guys, tall guys, and we're walking through. We run across a bunch of teeny boppers in the building. I mean, these kids look like they were 14, 15 years old. And they're just coming up out of the morgue, and they go, dude, you're not going to believe this. We just got this EVP. It's an old lady telling us to get out of the morgue, So we said, oh, the old lady. And they played the EVP for us. And it's, sure enough, it was an old lady saying, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. But she was waiting for us, not them, And so we're listening to, we're saying, wow, it's pretty good EVP. Very cool. Yada, yada, yada. So then I turned to my partner, Brian. I give him a wink, and I say, does anybody know that you guys are here? And they're like, no, we didn't tell anybody. I said, so nobody knows that you guys are in the insane asylum. And the kids are like, no, nobody knows we came here, So then I turned to Brian, and like all of the guys all of a sudden started surrounding these kids, and they're looking up at us because they're like 4 feet tall. And I say, we could kill these kids and no one would know it. And they all turned white as a ghost. I mean, they all turned white. And then we all just started laughing hysterical, and they're like, dude, don't do that, man. You scared the crap out. Because you got to understand, we're in an insane asylum. So we have surgical masks on. So they can't even see our face. They don't know what we look like, As a matter of fact, we were yelling at them for being in there without the surgical mask, or without doing any saging, or without protecting themselves in any shape, way, or form. They just went in like cold like that. So then we go down to the morgue, and I'm trying to convince people to go inside the freezer. Nobody wanted to go in the freezer, So I said, okay, I'll go in the freezer. I went in the freezer, and not really sure what I heard. I heard like murmuring, like a woman's voice. And when I got out of the freezer, everybody was gone. There was just one guy there. The guy who was hanging with me that day, Tommy. He pulls me out, and I start taking photos down the hall, because everybody else had spread out, because down in that part of the building, they had the dentist chair, which was really wicked looking chair, and they were doing all kinds of stuff down there. So everybody had spread out, and I'm taking photos, and again, not looking at the photos at the time, but in the photos there, a blue mist starts to appear, and then it gets smaller and smaller, and it turns into like a plasma ball. And then at the end, the final photograph, if you blow it up, it looks like the woman who played the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz, with the long chin and the big nose, right? And it looks like she's got 2 buns on the side of her head. And that was the old lady showing herself to me, like the psychic said she would.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and again, I didn't see it at the time because when I'm taking photographs, I'm not analyzing. I'm in photograph mode. And from being an ex photographer, it's like three here, three there, three there. You know what I mean? I'm constantly taking pictures in threes. And that's why I caught that blue mist. Then it's starting to get tighter, the mist. Then it turns into plasma, and then there's the old ladies, like almost like a bust from her shoulders up. You know, you could see her,
Oh, that's
and
crazy.
I was like, wow, that's the old lady who the Cindy said was waiting for us, and the one that was on the kids' EVP telling them to get out of the morgue because I guess that's where she was waiting for me.
Right. Hey, do you know if they ever like did like experiments there or something wicked like that?
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of stuff with about tuberculosis. You know, they did a lot of experimenting on children, older people, handicapped people, retarded people. A lot of tuberculosis. As a matter of fact, Cindy said that there was a doctor there who was really like an evil guy, like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of guy. And she said that he had jars. There were still jars in that hospital somewhere with human organs in them. She said if we looked hard enough, we would find them.
Yeah.
But we didn't find them, but we did look for them. But yeah, and you know, we were going to go back a couple more times because we just the place is so big. It's 2,000 acres. That's why it's called Letchworth Village, and there's a ton of different buildings. You know, and we had hit like 2 or 3 administrative buildings on it. One was an administrative building. One was a facility where the people who work there lived, you know, like the nurses and the doctors and staff. There was like a staff building, you know, where they had their own apartments and stuff like that. And then there was the actual hospital. And like I said, there was so many buildings. I mean, I think we only got to 4 that day, you know, and then we ran into security, and the security guard said, if you guys really want to see something freaky, go to the cemetery. He said, I was down there doing patrolling one night, and 3 or 4 beams of light, he called them tubes of light, came out of the ground.
Oh, damn.
He said, I don't know what it was. I wasn't waiting to find out. I turned the car around and I got out of there as fast as I could, you know. And I was like, okay, let's put the cemetery on the list, you know. That's the next stop, you know. No, that place did not fail. I mean, we got so much evidence in that place. And just, you know, it was just so big. We really should have gotten there earlier in the day. You know, we didn't realize how many buildings there were. So we knew it was 2,000 acres, but you know, a lot of it was fields and you know, and stuff like that. Play areas for the kids and stuff. They had playgrounds, stuff like that. But yeah, it was a crazy place. Yeah.
Dang, man. Hey, did that old lady say if she had a name or not?
My psychic didn't get a name. No, we didn't get a name.
Okay.
And all the other researchers that I spoke to who went there, they've only captured her on EVPs.
If you're a homeowner and you're still paying for electricity,
it's always like telling them to get out of her space.
Just weeks ago, the federal government passed an extension to the solar investment credit, which pays homeowners an average of $13,000 to install solar panels. What's the catch?
I was
Not all
actually
homes qualify.
waiting to see if we got pushed down a step or have somebody got their hair pulled. You know what I mean? But nothing like that happened. Just again, we went into the lunchroom and we sat down like we were ordering lunch. You know, waiting to see a chair come flying off a table or something. Yeah. But nothing happened. You know, we didn't get any evidence there. So,
dang, man. That is crazy. Can you give like a little brief history of the place just to put it in context?
Yeah, the place was called the Letchworth Village Insane Asylum. It opened up in the early 1900s. Originally, it was for handicapped children that nobody wanted, mongoloid children and stuff like that. And then it changed and it became a hospital for orphans. It became an orphanage, and then it became a hospital, and then it became a poor farm, and then it just became like a dumping ground for anybody who didn't want to take care of their family members. And it was overcrowded conditions. I think it was Geraldo Rivera that went there in like the 80s. I think it was the late 80s that he went there and really shined a light on it. And when he did that, right after that, they closed it down.
That is crazy, man. That place must have so much history. You got to get back there, dude, and check out the other buildings, because I'm thinking there's all sorts of hijinks, hoopla, merriment, and monkey shines going on over there.
Oh yeah, I got orbs following me in so many photographs of like from the administration buildings to the residence housing. I mean, it's like I have like 3 or 4 of the same orbs and all the pictures. Like just follow me. Like they had got like 3 different color orbs. One was blue, one was green, and one was red. And they're like in all the pictures of my guys taking pictures of me coming down the hallways. And these like 3 orbs were following me the whole day.
That is crazy. You know, when you talked about play area for kids being there, nothing gets or bothers me more than EVPs of children, because you always think then that they're stuck, you know, they're kind of stuck there, and what it would be like for a child to have to endure that. How many EVPs have you ever gotten with like kids in it?
We did a library for a large city here in New York. I won't mention the name of the city, but we did a library. And in the basement of the library, which they were just using for storage at the time, we caught EVP of children playing, like kids, like I would say like kids maybe like that were outside of school playing jump rope or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just, it was like a dozen kids just playing and laughing and giggling and just having a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And when we researched the property, there was like in the 1800s, something like the 1800s, late 1700s, early, there was a schoolhouse on there, you know, at one point. And we think it was a residual from those kids playing either, you know, at lunchtime or whatever, or break or whatever it was outside the school. You know, I mean, I guess at that point, the building was engulfed the schoolyard, you know, and it just sounded like a bunch of like little kids, girls and boys having fun, like Ring Around the Rosie and stuff like that. It was just crazy just to hear all these kids. And, you know, it's one thing to hear a Class A EVP, it's just an individual voice. But when you hear like 20 kids giggling and laughing and playing, and you could just hear them like singing, just playing jump rope and stuff like that, it's just crazy.
You're right. Hey, are you ever going to go back and hunt for the jars?
I don't know. Last time we went there, someone had set the hospital on fire.
Jeez.
And then what they did was what the police did was they used to be able to drive up to each individual building. Okay. And what the police did was they sealed off all the roads and they just left like a main parking lot, because it is like a park setting. If you go there, you will find like deer grazing on the grass and swans in the lake and all of this stuff. It's very park-like during the day, you know. But what the police did is they fenced off the whole 2,000 acres, and they just left a little area for a parking lot. And you know, you could still walk to the houses, you know, but you can't drive to any of them. So if we went there now and we parked our cars in the lots, the cops would know we were there, you know. what we were able to do when we were there the 2 times before that, we were able to drive to each individual and building and park behind the buildings. So when the cops drove by, they didn't see the cars, so they didn't have any reason to stop. And what the young kids did tell us was that, when it gets dark, this is the time the cops come by. They told us what time. So when you see the police car coming down the road, you'll see their headlights from about a quarter mile away. Shut your headlamps off. Let them drive by and drive out of the park, and then you can continue on. Those were the kids gave us that advice. And you know what? They told us to park the cars in the back of the building, that the cops would never drive back there if they didn't have a reason to, So that's what we did. And when we seen the police coming from a quarter mile, we just shut our headlamps off, and they drove by, they flashed the spotlight on the building. But, the buildings are so big, there's so many shadows and, places to stand back into the shadows, they'll never see you. So if they don't see headlights walking around in it, they don't get out of the car. But like I said, now that it's all fenced in, there's only one little parking lot to park. And if they see your car there after dark, they're going to come looking for you.
I bet. Hey, when you go on investigations, how easy is it to get access, or is it pretty involved, like getting written permission or whatever?
It depends. Some places that we did 2 different libraries, and one really in one of the bigger cities here in New York, and the access was easy because the people who ran the library were into it, So, they gave us carte blanche. You could park here. You don't have to pay for parking. You have total run of the buildings. And some places are real easy because they're into it. And then other places, it's like, no matter what you say to them, they're just like, no, you can't go. Nope. And that's the end of it. So, All right. We try not to break any laws when we go out. We're trying to be law-abiding citizens, all the time. But
right. The Squatch Father pulling B&Es, man.
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
but
man. Hey, what's going on right now with the Bronxville Paranormal Society and the Squatch Father?
Well, like I said in the beginning of the show, I just finished doing those two. I guess we would call them Bigfoot expeditions, and haven't even had a chance to go through all the data yet. Comparing 1% of the moon against a full moon, a solar eclipse against a lunar eclipse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got a lot of when I go out, I do a lot of environmental readings now.
Yeah.
Not so much out to prove what's out there, what's not out there, but how the environment changes when you do certain things to it.
Yeah.
Like the universe is alive, and when you do certain rituals to it, the energy changes, and it changes again, and it changes again, depending on what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think I when I go out, I like to do like 250 different kind of readings. So it takes a while to go through all that data and see how everything's changed. Sometimes nothing changes. Sometimes there is no data. Everything is just flatlined, and sometimes the data changes every time you change the frequency or the vibration or whatever you're playing with that night. And I like to play. I got a bunch of different things I like to play with, So like I said, when we came home the other night on the 28th, I don't think we left the woods until 2:00 in the morning. So
holy cow!
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, what is the Squatch Father's bucket list for investigations?
If I could investigate anywhere, it would definitely be either the Egyptian pyramids or the Roman what do they call those
Colosseum?
things? Not the Colosseum, but the underground caverns.
Catacombs.
The catacombs, yes, the catacombs in Rome. Absolutely, yeah. As a matter of fact, I took my wife out on the 21st of October, was her birthday, and we did a ghost tour. and I was under strict orders not to bring anything or take control of the tour, because you have a habit of starting to investigate, and then everybody starts following me, and instead of doing the ghost tour, everybody's following my investigation tour, and I was under strict orders to leave all my equipment home and not say a word about ghost. And it was a very interesting evening. It was, and there was definitely stuff there, but it was funny, because even when my psychic called me, she's like, "Where you going?" And I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because I see a lot of shadow things. Where you going?" I said, "I'm taking my wife for a ghost tour, And she's like, "Whatever you do, don't take any pictures and don't start talking to anybody. This is her birthday gift. You don't do anything. If she goes, I don't care. Even if you see a shadow figure comes up and says hello to you, don't say nothing until your wife says something first." And I said, "Man, I just got this conversation from my wife, and now my psychic's telling me the same thing." But it was very interesting, very, very historic area in New York. I mean, a lot of 1%ers in this graveyard, you know what I mean? And was very interesting night. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. One last quick question for you, and that is lightning round here. What is your favorite Halloween movie?
My favorite Halloween movie. I just rewatched The Exorcist I love the original Exorcist, but it would definitely be between The Exorcist and The Omen.
Nice. Hey, there's a new movie that's out there called The Pope's Exorcist. I recommend it. It's starring Russell Crowe, and it's badass.
Seen it.
I loved it.
I loved it because it was in Italian, and I speak Italian, so I understood everything that they were saying in the movie. I was translating for my wife.
Nice.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Yeah, absolutely good movie. Yes.
Nice. Well, okay. Before we get out of here, why don't you give everyone here where they can tune into the Bronxville and everything Squatch Father?
Okay, so you could find me at the Bronxville Paranormal Society Facebook group page, Facebook team page, also at the New York State Sasquatch Organization, the New York State UFO Project, the New York State Dogman Project, the North American Dogman Project. I was just given Region 3. I was just made Region 3 director. I used to be a New York State director, but I can't hold two offices, so I gave that position to one of my field investigators, and Jody Cook made me a Region 3 director, basically from Maryland all the way up to Maine. And we still have our YouTube page. We haven't put anything on it in a while, but it's still there if you want to go through it and see the videos from Letchworth Village and a bunch of our expeditions, Bigfoot expeditions. Everything is still up there, so.
Yeah. Alfred, thank you so much, man, for coming on. Like I said at the beginning, when I decided I was going to do this Halloween live stream, for literally the first name that popped into my head was this ominous voice that said Squatch Father.
And we didn't even discuss the 2 pictures of the ghost in the cemetery. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to get you on again here soon and talk about that. And I'm really interested also in the UFO stuff.
Oh yeah, a ton of UFO stuff as well. Absolutely.
Excellent. Hey, Alfred, thank you so much, man.
All right, Jason. Thank you very much for having me. Good night.
Good night. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Can everyone hear me all right? Excellent. All right, that was a Squatch Father, Alfred Santariga. What he said about what he's doing and his links, please get over there and follow him. He is one hell of a guy and has always got the best experiences. All right. Next up, what I want to do is read you another ghost story. This is from Brenda, from Ashland, Oregon. Hey, we got a local one. All right. Here it goes. Jason, thank you for the opportunity to tell my story. You're welcome. My friends and I one night got out the Ouija board because we thought it would be fun. We never took it seriously. We all put our finger on the planchette and asked if there were any spirits here. After a few seconds, it started moving to yes. I thought one of my friends was moving it, but I thought I would play along. My friend Anna asked if it was a good or bad spirit. It replied bad. Thinking it was still a joke, the planchette then spelled not spirit. She asked what it was then. It spelled out demon. Bad times. I asked who was moving it. Everyone said that they weren't moving it, so we all started to get a little concerned, you think. I asked what was its name. It started with L, then U, then C, then I, then F, then E, and finally R. Ladies and gentlemen, that spells Lucifer. Yeah. Alright, I must admit that I didn't know the name, laugh out loud. My friend Stephanie turned a pale white and said that it was the devil. Yes. I asked again if anyone was moving it. No was the answer all around. We were really getting scared, I bet. Steph asked what it would be like. Let's see. Steph asked what it did want to tell us. What did it want to tell us? Oh my God. The reply was it wanted us. I started to moan a little. Steph's hair started rising like when you get static cling. She then started crying and telling us that she felt dizzy and there was a buzzing in her head. She took her finger off and got up and ran to the bathroom. Yeah, I would have done that a long time ago. Woo, getting late, gotta go. Alright, we immediately got up and followed her to check up on her and make sure she was alright. When we pushed the door open, she jumped and screamed, yelling that some voice was talking to her inside her head. After 5 minutes later, she calmed down and said that the voice had stopped. We burnt the Ouija board, good call, in the fireplace and all got out of there. We haven't had any problems since, but my friend Stephanie was in therapy for like a year. Oof. I will never use a Ouija board again, and I tell others that it is dangerous. Again, thank you for the opportunity to tell the story. Wow. Holy cow, Brenda from Ashland. What a story. Yeah, Ouija boards are not good, okay? I had one experience with a Ouija board, and I'll go ahead and tell it now since it's Halloween and all. A long time ago, when I in a galaxy far, far away, I was at a friend's house. His name was Dave, okay? And there was a few of us. There was Dave, there was Louie, there was Chuck, and then there was little old me. And so Dave had this Ouija board. I don't know where he got it from. I never asked. And he asked, one night, hey, you guys want to play the Ouija board? And we were like, yeah, sure, why not? Which was stupid. But, when you're a young teenager and you get a chance to play the Ouija board, I guess you do it. So he brought out the Ouija board, and listen, I'm gonna be honest. Like Brenda here, I took it for a joke. It's not real. It's just some Parker Brothers game board, like Monopoly or whatever. That is what it is. So we got the board, put the planchette there down, in the middle there. We all put our little fingers on it and stuff. And so, we said, hey, is anyone out there? And nothing happened for a bit. We're like, okay, yeah, ha ha, And so we asked again, hey, is there anyone out there? And, a few seconds went by, and it started moving. And at this point, I thought that's just one of my friends, and it's nothing. And it went up to yes. Okay, so there was definitely something out there. And then it went back to the middle thing. I thought someone was moving it. And so we asked it its name. Okay. And So we're sitting there and we said, hey, what's your name and stuff? And a few seconds later, it started moving again. It started with an E, then a B. Eventually, it spelled out Abigail. Okay, Abigail. And so, okay, at this time, one of us obviously who's doing this? All right, this is stupid. And we went around. No, I wasn't moving it. Dave said nope. Louis said nope. Chuck said not a finger. And so we figured, okay, and again, someone's just hiding it. It's a joke, right? So, of course, where was Abigail? Okay, we asked her where was Abigail, and a few seconds go by again. And then it comes back with H-E-L-L. Hell. Alright? And so again, we're like, haha, this is just a joke. Come on. And, at this point, I'm like, hey, it's getting old, guys. This is starting to get a little weird. Fess up to it, Well, Chuck, he's like, hey, this didn't. I ain't doing it. Louis, was like, hey, not me either, And then Dave, of course, said, nope, not me. And so we start all gave each other those looks, right? Like, what's going on here? So she was in hell. And so we asked her something like, could she feel or something? It was like some question like that. And she came back with, she spelled out pain. Well, and you're in hell, so I imagine, okay, you're probably going to feel a little bit of pain. And we asked then probably one of the $1 million questions. Is the devil there? Obviously in hell, is the devil there? She answered yes. And we asked the stupid question of what was he like, right? What was he like? And just the simple word evil came back. Evil, right? So at this point, we're starting to get pretty freaky here because no one is fessing up. It's moving on its own. It's not like someone taking your fingers and then moving it where it jerks along a little bit. I mean, it glided. Right? So I don't know. Certainly I could never do something like that. And I'm pretty sure none of my friends could do something like that. So, yeah, I get a little freaky. Well, anyway, we decided at that point we were going to stop. So we stopped, put the board away, and we just couldn't, each one now, maybe it was because we were messing with it, I don't know. But we all had that feeling that, this heavy feeling that something wasn't right in Denmark, right? And I remember so vividly, to this day, we're sitting around, and Dave's mom had this painting. I don't know. I guess it was like a family heirloom gone back, years and years. I don't know. But it was over the couch. And after we got and put it away, we were like talking to each other about how freaky that was. Well, next thing you know, the painting, right, just drops, boom, right off the wall. Now, let me ask you this. What are the odds that something like that is going to happen right then when, obviously nobody bumped into it. I mean, it's across the room. So when it fell, we freaked, man. We were like, holy, if there's kids, I ain't gonna say the word, but you get the meaning. So, we all broke up at that point and said, woo, getting late, gotta go. So we broke it up. Everyone headed to their chosen domicile. I came home, and of course, I went upstairs to my bedroom, and I get up there and turn on light, figure out how to turn on the stereo, get some musical company with me because again, I'm freaked out. you know, and the hair, you know, the hair on the back of your neck is still going. I still had that heavy feeling, right? Very, very heavy. And I remember sitting there, and I remember the room just going cold. I mean, really, really cold, right? And I remember thinking, oh crap, you know? And then there was this thumping that happened on, you know, a window. Now, I'm second story, right? There ain't nobody touching a window. It started da-da-da-da, and so I figured, okay, is it, you know, it's got to be the wind or something. Well, it wasn't windy that night. I remember it was in the middle of summer. So, thump, 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 thump. And then I remember hearing a voice from downstairs. I believe it was my mom. And she's like, what are you doing up there? You know, and I'm like, you know, not me. You know, and of course, you know, it was later at night. So she's like, no, get off, you know. And so I had, that heavy feeling, right? It was cold in the room, and it just felt like somebody had followed me back. And I did not like it. After a while, it abated. And, you know, as things do when you move on through life, first you put it down as, okay, it just got the heebie-jeebies. Maybe it was real, I don't know. But then life goes on. You get into your 20s, 30s, 40s, and me, 50s. You know, you kind of forget about it until the bald guy here wants to do a Halloween live stream, and so it all comes back, and so I figured I would share that story with you. 100% true, 100% accurate, good housekeeping seal of approval. All right. Next thing we're going to do is I want to play you a sound. It was the creepiest thing. I first heard this on the old Art Bell show, Love Art. If you've listened to the podcast, you know the story of Art and I. So, but I'm not doing it. I heard this guy on there, and he was talking about how there was this hole that was dug in Siberia in Russia, and they had put a they said it went down like 5 miles deep. I mean, it was down there, and so they stuck a microphone down there just to see if they could record any sounds of the earth, you know, anything for scientific advancement. So they did that, and they got a recording. Now, this is back in the 70s, okay? And, of course, during the 70s, the Soviet Union, right? And for years, it didn't get out. Obviously, it was suppressed and so forth. But after the Soviet Union broke up, you know, things were a little less loose, or a little less tight, I should say. And so eventually it fell into, you know, some Americans' hands until it got to the point where it became kind of viral here on, you know, social media. And I remember a guy on Art Bell, and he's talking about it, and they played the audio of it, and it just, I mean, it was so freaky, man. So what I want to do here is I want to get this ready, and I want to play it for you, because it just still, when it happens, it just raises the hair on the back of your neck. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this now. We'll see if we can get it. This is The Sounds of Hell from Siberia. All right, we are here with the Squatch Father himself, Alfred Santoriga. Alfred, how are you doing, buddy?
Good, Jason. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for enduring all the please stand by technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, my life is one big technical difficulty, so it doesn't matter.
I can totally relate to that, man. So we're here on the live stream here, and I couldn't think of any better guest to get on than the Squatch Father, because, good Lord, you have some experiences.
Yes, we are. And I'm always going out getting more stuff. I did before we get into the show, I just want to mention that I did a Bigfoot investigation on Friday the 13th, and with a polar eclipse that day, and it was 1% of the moon that night, and it was pretty interesting, to say the least.
Tell me about it.
No, I'm not ready to discuss everything with the world. I still got a lot of stuff I got to sort out, but
Gotcha.
we went out when I went because it was a full moon that night.
Yeah, pretty freaky, huh? Yeah, I heard that a long time ago, and I was like, holy crap. So there is the sounds of hell.
And then I switched to Liberty Mutual and saved hundreds.
Cool.
I know.
So
exactly.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and freedom of creation. Being able to integrate and change and develop at my own pace. I offer a range of products and services. To manage it all from one place is essential. It gave me time back in my day to get going on actual projects. It really just made everything feel more achievable.
Was supposed to have some more guests on, but the lady in the UK couldn't quite get there. And I was going to have on for you...
Deep in western Russia, the frigid desert contains the remnants of one of the most ambitious scientific experiments ever performed. It's a ruin now, a wasteland of jagged metal and crumbling concrete. If you search around long enough, you will find a rusted disc bolted to the earth. So unassuming that you might even try to pick it up, but you won't be able to. It's the welded shut cap of a borehole that plummets more than 12 kilometers into the earth. Deeper than the deepest depths of the ocean. It's the deepest hole on Earth.
Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Automatic, iHeartRadio, all the things. Go ahead and get there, listen to some, give us a good,
It's called the Kola Super Deep Borehole, and its existence has nothing to do with petroleum exploration. Rather, when drilling began in 1970, Soviet scientists hoped to eventually drill down to 15,000 meters in order to gain a better understanding of the nature of the Earth's crust. Because the truth is, we know less about what's under our feet than what's on the other side of the solar system. They drilled on and off for 24 years, and though they didn't quite reach their goal when work came to a halt in 1994, the engineers had reached a record depth, 12,262 meters, a record that still stands today. 2 decades later, the Kola borehole remains a remarkable technological and scientific achievement. To drill it, engineers devised a new method by which only the drill bit at the end of the shaft was rotated. The lubricant, in this case pressurized drilling mud, was pumped down through a custom drill bit, allowing it to spin. Instruments had to be invented to take measurements at the bottom of the hole. What did we learn by drilling a third of the way through the Baltic continental crust? For one, there's water down there. At depths, scientists didn't believe water could be found. They suspect that the water formed from hydrogen and oxygen that were squeezed out of rock crystals due to crazy high levels of pressure that far down. Unlike groundwater, this water originated from the rock minerals themselves. Never before had this been observed. Also surprising? How about microscopic fossils discovered by Russians at depths of up to 6.7 kilometers? Researchers cataloged 24 species of single-cell plankton microfossils over the course of the project, and they weren't found in the kinds of deposits we're used to finding them in, like limestone and silica. These were covered by organic carbon and nitrogen compounds, preserved thanks to those high pressures and high temperatures so far below the surface. As for those temperatures, by the time the engineers broke through the 12-kilometer mark, where rock samples were dated at 2.7 billion years old, the heat became a major issue. Researchers thought the temperature of the rocks would be about 100 degrees Celsius. What they found were temperatures in excess of 180 degrees. It was this heat that caused the drilling to come to a stop. Engineers
The world's most shocking monster. Never have you known such cringing terror, such sudden shocks.